Well, at any moment, as Joe said, presumptive Democratic nominee Kamala Harris will announce her selection for her running mate. So let's get some Monday analysis. Let's talk politics. I have Michael Starr Hopkins, a Democratic strategist, and Melik Abdul, a Republican strategist. Both join me live. Welcome to you both. Michael, I would like to start with you, since everybody is talking about this pick. We know that Kamala Harris kind of has had to, hastily pull together this campaign. How important is this decision on a running mate? And when do you think the public will finally find out?
Well, isn't that the great question? I think we've all been kind of sitting around waiting to hear. This pick is important because she wants to continue the momentum. What they don't want to have is any distractions. Luckily, when you look at this field of candidates, I mean, you've got U.S. senators, you've got governors, they're strong candidates. And what she's managed to do in 2 weeks is nothing short of incredible. I mean, you've seen a 6-point swing in the polls, over 200 million raised. I think she had 30,000 new volunteers this weekend. This campaign's headed in the right direction. So what they want to do with the VP pick is just make sure that they don't take away any voters.
All right. So Melik, let's go to you. And I want to obviously talk Donald Trump here. Big sell-off today on on the stock market. Trump is blaming the Biden administration for the mess that we're seeing on Wall Street. However, he has previously tried to take credit for stock market highs that have happened under the Biden administration, saying, though, that those highs came because investors thought he was going to be elected. So we're seeing him blame the administration for what's happening right now in Wall Street. We're seeing him attack Kamala Harris on her ethnic identity, on her IQ. My question for you, Melik, are the days of unity that we saw after the assassination attempt, are they over?
I don't think they were ever here. Maybe a period of about 12 hours, but much after that, it was on like Jack Strong, as they say. I don't think that we're going to have this unifying moment in the campaign. Maybe Americans do want that, but they just don't seem to push that from their politicians. We always get into this type of political fight, this very toxic culture. And I imagine that Donald Trump is going to continue with that, continue knocking Kamala Harris, not just on her record as vice president, but also her record as attorney general that she now wants to revert back to. So don't expect any niceties in this entire election cycle between now and November. It will not.
Right. Just keeping it real there. All right. Michael, back to you. I mean, let's talk about the Harris campaign. They are labeling, Trump and Vance as weird, as the campaign as being weird. Is this their way of counterattacking? And do you think that's a good strategy?
It is. I think everyday Americans understand that when two men want to focus on what a woman does with their body, that's just weird. When two men want to call themselves pro-life, but they don't want to make sure that kids can have a good education and make sure that they have good healthcare, it's weird. And so I think if the label fits, then it's going to stick. And what you're seeing is it's something that's really resonating across the country.
And back to you, Melik. Let's talk polling, because polls do show Trump and Harris right now in a very close matchup. There are some polls that show her starting to pull ahead slightly. The days of unity may have only been hours, but do you think we'll see a change in strategy by the Trump team in response to these polls?
Well, I think that they're trying to adjust now. And even though the Trump campaign has been getting criticism and saying that they weren't prepared, I don't think anyone was necessarily prepared for Democrats to say, in case of an emergency, break glass. Well, they broke the glass in this case. And now you have an entirely new candidate in the race who didn't have to go through a grueling campaign, who didn't have to go through any of the traditional things that a general election candidate, it was literally dropped in her lap. She didn't have to do anything. So obviously, the Trump campaign, they thought for the past year and a half that they would be running against Joe Biden. So there will be some adjustments. Anything related to identity and all of these type of things going down the rabbit hole. It is one thing for us to have this conversation about Kamala Harris's blackness, but no white person should be having conversations about it. And that would include Donald Trump.
Yeah, we'll see if that ends. I'd like to stick with you, Melik. I mean, what about this VP selection by Kamala Harris? How do you think the Trump campaign will respond? And do you think that response will change depending upon who she selects?
So I think that both campaigns, actually, there is a benefit here. Now, neither Kamala Harris nor J.D. Vance, whichever VP she chooses, they won't be bringing experience to the ticket. Mark Kelly is not more experienced than a Kamala Harris or even a Shapiro for that matter. They will bring optics to the ticket. Is this someone that we could look at as more of a moderate, while Kamala Harris herself is looked at more of a like a really flaming liberal? I think that the VP candidates will wash out eventually. I don't think that there will be any advantages versus a Shapiro or even a JD Vance for that matter.
All right, and this question is for both of you. Michael, I'll come back to you since I've been asking Melik a few questions here. Whether it is on ABC News, as previously agreed upon, or whether it is on Fox News, as the former president is now suggesting, are we going to see these two debate?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea that we're not going to see the two presidential nominees debate, I think, one, isn't good for our democracy and transparency. But two, I don't think Donald Trump can really see his ego take the hit of Kamala Harris continuing to call him out and challenge his manhood. So I fully expect that he'll be at that second podium and she won't be there alone.
Well, Melik, what about you? Do you think these two will actually debate? Because, we had this agreed upon debate when it was Trump and Biden. Obviously, now the ticket has changed. He would like to see it on Fox News. What do you think is going to actually happen?
Well, I hope that they do debate, and I hope that Kamala Harris she actually feels like she's strong enough to debate on a network like Fox News. They've hosted debates in the past, but if it's not Fox News, it won't be CNN, it won't be NBC because of the Ronna McDaniel issue. I'll tell you what both of the candidates should do. They should actually agree to get the debate hosted by News Nation. Why not?
Listen, Melik, I like the way you think. Let's bring it on,
like
candidates. So we are here. Michael Starr Hopkins, Melik Abdul. Gentlemen, thank you both. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.